Welcome to Insights with Thomas Caldwell on Thursday, August the 6th, 2026. Okay, Tom, we've had 9 interns this summer.
Yes.
They're all going back to school.
Good.
I'm calling this episode Lessons from Our Interns. What did we learn?
Well, it's interesting. I'm sure every generation thinks the one following them isn't up to snuff. I mean, the generation ahead of me lived through the Depression, fought a world war, built the infrastructure of this country, and I'm sure they thought we were a pack of wimps. I think the wimp factor did increase for quite a period of time. It's interesting, we have 8 to 10 intern groups, interns every summer. And you can see a trend over time. If I look at our current group of interns, which were in the preamble photograph, they're far more entrepreneurial than, say, 2 or 3 groups back. They want to do something, they're smart, they want to accomplish something, they want to build something, and they're very open to learn. A little bit more connected than the previous groups, who I guess had to live through COVID. They were quite disconnected, and the males far more than the females. It's getting a little bit better now, but they're a little bit more connected than they have been. But my point is here, you're dealing with people, young people who are ambitious, they want to learn something, and they're prepared to really start the learning once they get out of university, because you really are just social conditioned while you're there. And I think a lot of them tend to see that. So my sense is, my concern is we as a society and our respective level of governments have not created the environment that they're going to need to achieve their greatest potential. We're still dealing, the thinking has changed of young people, but the thinking of governments is still old style hack politician, programs, let's buy your votes with your money. We need to get beyond that. The role of government has got to create an environment so people can thrive individually. And I think that's where we have to, so we're behind the curve as far as the young people now coming up, who are, I think, quite a bit more aggressive than, say, 2 or 3 iterations ago. So I think that's a real positive. But we as a society have to create an environment, because we always like to talk about our resources. The real resources in Canada has always been the people. We carved a country out of hostility, hostile environment. It's been our people, and it still is. But we have to provide them the opportunity and the funding, and that goes to where I live. I think really a look at our governments have made it very difficult for entrepreneurs to fund, finance, and build. And we've lost 10 years of that over the previous government. And the entrepreneurs have built massive companies in the States. So we are way behind the curve. I don't know that we can catch up, but if we don't provide the environment, the possibilities, the opportunities for these young people, they're going to end up in the States or in Europe to find these opportunities, because they're driven far beyond company border and even patriotism. They feel strongly about being Canadians, and they want to build here for obvious reasons. But we have to make the environment far more encouraging for them. So I'm really encouraged by the young people coming up, frankly.
Okay, so let's move on to markets.
Ah, yes.
I want to talk about the current difference between the Canadian equity markets and the US equity markets.
Well, there are many factors. They are 2 markets. They're not the same thing. The Canadian stock market is really reflecting an environment that really the only groups are prospering are natural resource companies and our banks. The overall environment we've hollowed out in Canada. And therefore, you're not going to get the economy moving and the jobs going by these big projects. The real thing we have to do in Canada, the elephant in the room that nobody in governments are talking about, cut taxes and ease regulations for young people to start new companies. It's very, very hard in Canada, and that's provincial regulation through the securities regulators. That has killed the Canadian capital market for new companies. It does not exist. So I guess if I looked at Canada, it's a governmental change we need. What we do in Canada when we want to change, we just re-elect the Liberal Party and they have a new pop-up leader. And I'm not political, I'm not Liberal or Conservative. I just want people to do the right thing for the country. So Canada, we are in a recession, like it or not. They keep looking at these numbers. Well, we have 2 quarters. No, we are now. And we have been for quite a period of time. And we're going to continue to fall behind for a long period of time. And our markets reflect that. And look at the United States. The economy is very strong. Unemployment is very low. It's just booming. And the innovation coming in the technology area, microchips, everything is incredible. And this is all entrepreneurial. These companies didn't exist 20 years ago. That's all entrepreneurial. We missed that whole era. So you got an economy that's booming, you got innovation that's dominating the world. Yes, you have a president that's a little bit off the wall. No, he's a lot off the wall, frankly. But this is why he still has significant support within the United States, that the market is strong, reflecting a strong, broadly based economy. And as far as international goes, Americans don't care. When I ask somebody, what do you think of Canada? He said, we never think of Canada. They don't. They're saying, hey, my life is good and we're doing well. So that stock market, our stock markets are reflecting two totally different economies. We have not caught up with progress in the world in Canada yet, because we still are doing the old let's buy votes type and big government controlling your life. So it's changed a lot. I kind of hope it'll change. If we get it right in Canada, and I mentioned this in our last talk, if we get it even halfway right, then this is going to be a very great destination to be, a lot of innovation. But we got to get rid of the blockages to raise capital, the blockages to funding new companies, and the blockages, all the regulations we have at every level of everything. So if we get it right, even halfway right, then this will be a great place to be. But right now, we're still wallowing in old hack politicians.
Well, thank you for your insights, Tom.
Thank you very much.
And thank you all for watching, and good luck to all of our interns. Bye for now.